Hello and welcome everyone. My name is Meepolis, she, they, and this is Literally Graphic. And today we are looking back at just under the first half of the Hikaru no Go series, volumes 1 to 11. This is a shonen manga series by Yumi Hotta and Takeshi Obata. Not a perfect series, but I've always been fond of it and would like to finally finish it. I had some choices to make because I started talking about this series before my fairly strict initial thoughts, then series wrap-up style of reviews, and all of them are now private. I didn't feel like taking enough time away from new content to repost each of these earlier videos individually, but I also can't pretend to be having a naive take on a new initial thoughts video. So instead, I've decided to just condense everything I have said about volumes 1 through 11 into one fresh video, read the rest of the series, and then wrap things up. Hopefully before my library's physical copies completely disappear. Highlighting the creators, according to her Goodreads profile, quote, Yumi Hotta is a Japanese mangaka, best known as the author of the best-selling manga and anime series Hikaru no Go, about the game of Go that is widely credited for the recent boom of the game in Japan. The idea behind Hikaru no Go began when Yumi Hotta played a pickup game of Go with her father-in-law. She thought that it might be fun to create a manga based on this traditional board game and began the work under the title of 9 Stars, named for the 9 star points on a Go board. End quote. This series, much like Death Note and Bakuman et al., was illustrated by Takeshi Obata, who, according to his Wikipedia page, chose to be a manga artist because he always loved drawing. He created Hikaru no Go with Yumi Hotta, and with 25 million collected volumes in circulation, it was adapted into an anime and became his first work to be released in North America. On September 6, 2006, Obata was arrested for illegal possession of an 8.6 centimeter knife when he was pulled over in Musashino, Tokyo, for driving with his car's headlights off at 12:30 a.m. The artist claimed he kept the knife in his car for when he goes camping. They were both awarded the Shoga Kukan Manga Award and the 2003 Tezuka Osamu Culture Prize for Hikaru no Go. And a side note on the series' Wikipedia page is that the Go games were supervised by Go professional Yukari Umezawa. It originally ran from 1999 to 2003, and it's also been adapted into an anime film, and most recently a TV drama that apparently ran in 2020. As far as content notes, not much jumped out at me, so I apologize if I missed anything, but ghosts feature strongly in the series so far, and there is some possession. Also, a strong rivalry dynamic. As far as series keywords, I would say sports, coming of age, ghosts, culture, believing in yourself, and achieving goals. As far as plot and synopsis, quote, while exploring grandfather's shed, Hikaru Shindo stumbles across a Go board haunted by the spirit of Fujiwara-no-Sai, a Go player from the Heian era. Sai wishes to play Go again, having not been able to since the late Edo period, when his ghost appeared to Honinbo Shusaku, a top Go player of that period. Sai's greatest desire is to attain the Kami no Itte, sorry for butchering that, a perfect move. Because Hikaru is apparently the only person who can perceive him, Sai inhabits a part of Hikaru's mind as a separate personality, coexisting, although not always comfortably, with the young boy. Urged by Sai, Hikaru begins playing Go, despite an initial lack of interest in the game. He begins by simply executing the moves Sai dictates to him, but Sai tells him to try to understand each move. In a Go salon, Hikaru twice defeats Akira, a boy his age who plays Go at professional level, by following Sai's instructions. Akira subsequently begins a quest to discover the source of Hikaru's strength, an obsession which will come to dominate his life. Diving into how I felt about the series, focusing first, as we always do, on sexuality and gender, this is unfortunately the one area where I felt the series falls very short. Not necessarily in sexuality, as that has not been present at all so far, but in the way that apparently cis girls are almost always, obviously, the worst at Go. often being pretty silly and asking the most basic questions. I often mention in my previous reviews that it might have been better to just not have any non-male characters, as they are only there to be very subpar. Does this change as the series continues? Probably not, but we shall see. A bit flat initially, Hikaru's entourage was always pretty interesting, and as the series progresses, Hikaru is not universally liked and does make some mistakes that he has to learn from. So while I do feel like Hotta is trying to craft a self-insert character, Hikaru is not a total Gary Stu. Of course, as Hikaru becomes more engaged with the playing of Go, there is a growing amount of magical thinking about how he's going to be the best, etc. That could get very annoying. But having other people who actually doubted him did help. Being possessed by Sai also makes his dramatic increase in skill a bit more realistic, and we do see Hikaru make a lot of progress in this first half of the series. It certainly doesn't hurt that from the very start, the, quote, a bad guy is portrayed as pretty sympathetic, so not too unbelievable. As far as how the series was going into as someone who knew zero about Go, I felt like teaching the game is well integrated into the story itself. It was interesting for me to be reading a sports manga, something I don't read that much of because I find sports rather boring, about something else that I did like, namely board games. There's obviously a lot of sports tropes that I don't come into contact with a lot. Even despite my love of board games, I was continually surprised by the way each game still grabbed my interest. I also like some of the anti-genius themes I felt were moving through this first part of the series. Even back then, I was fairly irritated with the myth of genius, when it's often used to erase group efforts, privilege, and pure chance. Not having actually reread the series, just redoing my review, I'm not entirely sure if class comes up. I don't think it does. Neither did anything about ability versus disability or race. Looking back to Goodreads, I apparently have rated most of the volumes 3 out of 5 stars. Stay tuned for my yet-to-be-scheduled concluding thoughts on volumes 12 through 23. Bye y'all, keep reading and resist white supremacy. And as always, Literally Graphic is created on land that should be given back to the traditional landholders, which in this case is, to my knowledge, the Mississaugas of the Credit First Nation, non-Anishinaabe people, the Haudenosaunee Confederacy, and the Huron-Wendat Nation.